Hello and welcome to a tutorial about group policy in Windows Server 2012 R2. Today we're going to talk about installing group policy and what it can do for your server infrastructure. Alright, so we're going to just start off by going into Server Manager, which should be on your taskbar. When you first log in, it should open automatically as well. We're going to go up to Manage and hit Add Roles and Features, which is going to help us install group policy. By the way, and all this information is on that page is for prerequisites. We're just going to go for role-based and select your server. Then we're going to skip this part. It is not a server role. It is a feature. Group policy is a feature of Windows Server. You can see I already have it installed. I'll actually just uninstall it really quick so you guys can see a removal process as well as reinstall it so you can see the installation process. And so it should be noted that this needs to be installed on a computer that is a domain controller. So you can see on the left I have A to DS, DHCP, and DNS. So you can't just install group policy on a server with no roles already. So I'm just going to remove group policy really quick and then we'll get it right back and I can start getting into it. With group policy, you can do lots of different things. You can manage your users' computers and users in various different ways, from preventing, heck, wallpaper changes to internet changes, like homepage changing and just a whole plethora of options. Every option that you can configure in Windows is something that you can set with group policy to either prevent people from changing it or, you know, um, to set it for them, set a default, and they can change it later. It's really great. And so you can see I'm just installing group policy here just to show you guys the process. It also should be noted that the scenario I'm running on right now, just because I set this up quickly, does not have any user computers on it. But I still will show you group policy and managing your computers in DHCP or my apologies, managing them in A2DS is something that you can find on another tutorial. I have other videos um, that can definitely show you how to do that. Um, but all the concepts are the same. So we went to tools and group policy management, and now we're just going to go to open up our domain. Mine is res.net, and you can see that that's our domain controller, right? That's our forest is res.net, and then my domain controller is down there as well. And I can create a group policy object in that domain and link it there. So what that'll do is basically links the group policy object to the domain so that anybody on the domain will get it. You can see I'm just going to name it preventing homepage or whatever. We're just going to prevent the secondary people from changing secondary homepages. You can see it's there now. This message just says, hey, guess what? This is just a link to a group policy object. It's not actually where it's stored, but you can still view it and all that kind of good stuff. So we're just going to go edit it because we actually want to change what it does. Now here's where it gets interesting. So you have computer configuration and user configuration. Computer configuration includes settings that will apply to computers and will stay with that computer. And user configuration, will apply to users and will stay with the user. So, if you computer configuration and user configuration have a lot of the same policies, but they're just targeted towards two different audiences, right? So if there's Bob and Bob's workstation, computer configuration will apply settings that Bob's workstation will take on, and anybody who logs into that computer will have those settings. User configuration will apply to users. So if Bob logs into Sally's workstation, and he has the group policy object, then those settings will go to him on Sally's workstation. So you can see they're both pretty much the exact same. I'm just going to go into computer configuration and we'll go to the Internet Explorer settings. Now there's a lot of settings in here. A lot of these you can Google and find out which one will suit your needs. because there's a lot of different settings that you can change. Like, I don't know all of these different settings, but it's so easy to just Google things nowadays that you can find out exactly what you're looking for to change whatever settings you need. So we can see I'm just going to go down or sort it by alphabetical order, and I'm going to go to disable changing secondary homepage settings so that people cannot change their secondary homepage. And you'll see I found it, and I'm just going to double click on it, and I will actually, once I do that, it'll bring up a menu of where you can configure the setting, because you can see it says not configured right now. Well, we're going to change that. And I'm just kind of clicking on some different settings here so you guys can look at that. But yeah, there's a lot of different settings. You know, you can change, you can disable different settings in the internet settings, so you can disable someone from changing, you know, security settings and all that kind of stuff. So you can change the availability that people have to options. So here you can see it says enabled, disabled, not configured on the left there. We're going to enable it, and you can see in the options on the left, you can actually choose which homepage you wanted to set it to. So I just chose Yahoo just because it was the website that I could think of at the time. And we'll just hit OK, and that will basically apply that to that setting. And we hit apply and OK, and all of this stuff saves automatically, by the way. You might have to refresh it or whatever in your management console, but it all saves automatically. You should see it, you know, right away. And you can also go to settings on the group policy object and see what you've applied. That's just right there is just it's a warning about internet, because I don't actually have access to the internet on that server, or on this server. And so you can see, you can go right to the settings that you applied and see exactly what you applied in a very graphical and easy to read way. Um, and that's very helpful. I use that all the time. Uh, and then what I'm going to do, just because, like I said, I don't actually have any users on this configured in this management, I'll just show a screenshot of what it looks like to the user. Basically, it shows up a little option box, and it says some settings managed by your administrator, and so on and so forth. And it'll be grayed out for them to not be able to change that kind of thing. Um, but yeah, so you can see that right there. And then I'll actually just show you a few different things in um, group policy, just, you know, to kind of get you guys to just see a little bit around a little bit more. I wanted to show a little bit more availability of what you can do in group policy. So I just created, I'm just going to go back into my prevent homepage and just go look at it, some policies in there. So you can go and, you know, you can change anything. It's not just Internet Explorer. Anything in Windows that you can, you know, is a setting or something like that, you can change. So, for example, control panel settings, you know, you can make it so people can't change the lock screen, and you know, you can get really in depth with it. And the best thing is that these are all templates, so people can make templates. So, like, there's templates for Google Chrome that you can add on, and Firefox, and all these different programs that people have made that you can just add on. All right, well, that'll be the end of this tutorial. I hope you guys learned a lot, and I really appreciate it. Go check out my other tutorials if you need help with DHCP and ADDS and DNS, and thank you so much. All right, bye.